Hello everyone, and welcome to the Indian Grand Prix. This is of course career mode, and I am driving my Force India. So, kicking my teammates' ass then, as normal, and while we flip through the setup there, we'll just say that I'm tweak what I planned originally. I did plan to do 3 or 4 races per video. I'm going to tweak that for now, for at least the rest of the season. I'm just going to do 1 video per race weekend, so this video will contain both qualifying and the race. I will cut out just the boring bits from the race, but you will have full qualifying. So, here we go then, so jumping straight in with prime tyres no less. So I've got Ricardo right close behind me. This is of course quali 1, so all we'll need to do is qualify in the top, is it 17? I think it's 18 actually, isn't it? 18, somewhere around there, so hopefully I'll be a bit higher than that anyway. So DRS is wide open then. I'm using the rest of my cars, or as much cars as possible, for the run to the line. So time it begins. As I said, Ricardo's very close behind me. I'm expecting to hopefully be able to pull away from him there. As I come to the first corner now, I've had a little bit more practice at this track compared to the last career-based video. It always gets me with my way I say things in English. Career and career are virtually the same. So coming then towards this very long straight, such a long straight. It's unbelievable, but it's got such low corners either end. It's quite a good one. So I only hit the rev limiter there towards the end. Actually, on my recent track guide video, I actually hit the rev limiter in Spain earlier than that. So despite this straight being longer, so it's an interesting one. DRS open then, using the rest of my cars for the run to the end of the first sector. 41.1, not sure how quick that is. It's been about a week or so since I actually recorded this video when I'm only commentating it. Same day you're going to watch it, probably Saturday I'm commentating this on, Saturday the 11th of May. So, Toro Rosso then, I'm pulling away from a little bit, but not a lot. I expect the Toro Rossos possibly to get knocked out, so I need to ideally pull away from him a bit more than I have done, but he's still right close behind me actually. Look at that, I haven't pulled out on him at all. Perhaps prime tyres is the wrong thing to go. It's worth a try, but it looks like it might not have paid off. Oh, let's get a bit with hit the bump really to get a bit of understeer at 1 minute 6.3 after 2 sectors then. So I get off the circuit a little bit there, but not too worried about it in career mode. I'll try not to do it, but I'm not going to back another lap if I do, like I would in a league race. So coming to the run for the line then, I have gained a little bit on Ricardo, but not a lot, so I'm going to be ahead of him, but I'll be a lot towards 29.2 then, was that? I think that was. So I doubt that'll be enough. Let's have a look. So skipping time then, to refresh your memory, I skipped time in quali 1 and quali 2. But in quali 3, I do not skip any time other than my initial flying lap. I'll press flying lap, funnily enough. And that's because, as you can see here, look, Ricardo is winded up 3rd. There is a glitch whereby when you skip time, it basically just gets it completely wrong. So in other words, right now, whoever was out with me on my first lap will have done whatever time they did. And then everyone else after that, because the fast forward function is wrong, they will all have wrong times. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. It's more frustrating when it's faster, to be honest. So, quali 2 then. Already on to quali 2. Nice blue sky there. And there I am, look, just hopping into my car, my red helmet. So, got a 0% chance of rain, so that's good. So, you saw that. Already used 1 set of each in practice. And of course I've used a prime set in the last session, so that gives me plenty of option sets for these next 2 qualifying sessions. Despite the fact that I'm a little bit off the pace with the Force India, I'm expecting to get to quali 3. But of course, I won't be able to do it on primes. It's unlikely anyway. So, DRS and cars then, use about half of my cars or so for the run to the line there. To come to the first corner now. It's a very tricky corner actually, very tricky to get the braking right and nail the apex and then not run wide as well. It's very tricky. Mainly the braking. You feel like you can brake later than you can, but you can't. This corner's tricky as well. There's a little bump just as you want to turn in. If you haven't turned in, by the time you hit that bump, you go straight on, more or less. Don't turn in half as good, so it's an interesting one. As we come down this very long straight again, so we're up to 206 miles an hour, 207. So very quick indeed, braking it right down to 2nd gear, clipping the apex nicely there. Trying not to run out too wide, getting hard and throttle, DRS and KERS. It's a 40.5, so that's about 6/10 up on my previous lap already. Of course, I'm on options, I was on primes on the previous lap. Try not to cut the corner through this section here, just about, I think, manage it. Might have been a slight cut, but it was close enough for me. DRS from between corners there, this is a lovely corner. You tap the brakes, flick it down in gear and flick it into the corner. Feels amazing to do. In qualifying at least, it feels a bit more sluggish and slow in the race trim, but in quality it does feel good. Flicking a car in like that feels very agile. Even the Force India that isn't agile feels even better with more grip online or on time trial. Let's go to the final corner already now then. It's not exactly a short lap, but it comes up quick. 1 minute 30 more or less lap, so 1 minute 27.6 was the lap. So hopefully, after I return to the garage, that'll be enough to put me through to quali 3. Again, though, I'm going to skip time, which will probably mean that I get through. So they're moving around, but 1.5 seconds. I'm definitely not that much quicker than them, are they? But as I said, I don't skip the final session, so if I've just effectively glitched my way into it, I will definitely be 10th. If I'm that slow, say I was in a HRT, and off the pace by using effectively this glitch, not on purpose, but oh, it's raining there. It's raining, so wet end of the session. That might be explained partly why they were a bit off the pace. Didn't expect that. Wow. Okay, and it's still raining in quali 3, so this should make it a bit interesting then. One of its inters or wets. It looks like wets to me. It looks like it's hammering down really. The end of the last session was wet. It's probably been raining in the meantime, and yes, full wet tyres. It's recommending for me. 0% chance of rain. Look at that. I'm going out on wet tyres and it's saying 0% chance of rain. Absolutely hoofing it down. Look at that. Wow. Did not expect to be doing this qualifying in the wet. There we go. It might give me a better chance at pole perhaps. Or it might be worse. I think the last quali session they'd done wets did not go to plan. I think I was 10th. In quali 3, I think. Was that Silverstone? Possibly. I've got a very good memory if it is, but not too sure. You guys might remember if you've watched them recently. Let's go into the first corner then. As I said, I haven't cut anything out so far, so you've seen everything that I've seen. So this is my first lap India wet. Well, it's not, but it's my first lap career mode India wet. As I said, you get different grip levels for each different mode, so more or less my first go. But of course, I do know the circuit well, and I have played in the wet on this game before. I do know roughly how much grip you tend to lose. You have to brake a little bit earlier, but not much earlier. The only reason you have to brake earlier, really, is so you can have a lower corner speed and also avoid locking your brakes. See there, I brake almost as late as I normally do. Of course, not having DRS and being slower because it's raining helps. First sector then, 43.9, so a couple of seconds off my dry time, as to be expected. It's looking pretty good so far, though, isn't it? Not bad at all. I believe my league race was in the wet, qualifying. Made it a bit interesting, but I was on pole for that one, so fingers crossed. I am usually pretty good in the wet. Not bad at all. Because I tend to be able to go quite like an oversteering car, which of course is what you get a lot of in the wet. So I tend to be able to control that quite nicely. This has been a pretty tidy lap, hasn't it? It's not bad at all. I haven't really fallen off the track. Haven't gone especially slow in any corners. Haven't locked any brakes. Haven't understeered. Apart from that little bit there, but it wasn't too bad. Did just about get it all slowed down. Haven't had too much wheel spin. Haven't had too much oversteer, so it's been a very tidy lap. Actually, you'd think I'd just done a whole quali session in the wet, wouldn't you? Ooh, missed my apex slightly in the final corner, but not too bad. As we come to the run to line then, it's 1 minute 36.891. So I'm still going to keep pushing, see if I can improve. As I said, I won't be returning to garage, so this might be an in-lap. We'll see how it goes, but I might as well carry on pushing because I doubt very much it'll be raining for the race. So see their fastest lap. People are starting to cross the line. Grosjean, he's gone slower. So I missed my apex slightly there. So I'm pushing a bit hard now. That's all you should do in the wet, particularly I get a banker lap in. Something that's reasonably representative, and then push harder, brake a bit later, take a bit more corner speed, get a bit harder on the throttle. Push a bit harder, try and get a bit more lap time, and at the moment I'm still on pole, and now, yeah, everyone's done a lap. So, after the first round of laps, I'm on pole position. Didn't really expect that. So I'm 2.5 tenths down though, that's a lot. I'm still going to keep pushing just in case. There's a load of times we found middle sector. It's all ran a bit wide there. See there, getting lots of wheel spin, lots more oversteer this time. Really pushing hard, playing the steering wheel a lot. Oh, was I run right wide there though? No, that's going to be it now. Lost too much time pushing a bit too hard. Of course, the track could well dry up. So I cut the corner there in the end and run wide. I'm probably still not up. No, still lost a 10th middle sector, so this lap I will be pitting. There we go, confirmation. I go to lean. So I shall be pitting at the end of this lap. As I said, not worried about tyres. I doubt very much. In fact, I wonder if quali's wet and the race is wet. If you have to start on what tyres you qualified on. Probably not. I think it only applies in the dry. But anyway, as I said, it's likely to be dry anyway. 5 minutes to go then, so not long at all. It's just enough time for me to get back into the pits, change the tyres, and get back out again. Of course, you do get to complete the lap that you started when the timer counts down to 0. So if you're already on a lap, when the timer reaches 0, you get to complete that lap. So there's more than that really. I can cross the line with 1 second remaining and still be able to get a lap in, so timer's always a little bit deceptive in terms of how long's left. So how many laps is left? So 6/10 actually, a little way, look at that. It's not bad at all, is it? 6/10 of a second. So yeah, I nearly go to prime tyres, that would have been a mistake with how wet this track is, but 6/10, that is a lot of time. Right, I had to think about that, nearly went to flying lap, as is natural. I'm sure you guys who played a lot. I've actually played now over 250 hours of this game. So a serious amount of time invested into this game. So stuff like that becomes natural, the menus become natural, you know where everything is, you can flick between them. So I have to be careful then not to flick to flying lap, rather ruin what I try and do in quali 3. That was my first pit exit on wets. I managed to negotiate it fine, as I think I should get 2 flying laps in, hopefully. So still got a full battery of cars, of course I will save that for the beginning of the next lap. Won't use any on my out lap, just don't need to. I'm on lean at the moment. So, interestingly as well, you do come out the pits with fully warmed up tyres when it's wet, but in the dry you don't. And to be fair, that's probably about right, but I think it still needs tweaking, the whole tyre model of this game. In the wets I think somewhere around 50-60 degrees is their operating temperature. So these wet tyres, this is real life I'm on about. And I think the dries are more like 80-90. So I think the tyre blankets, they only do heat it up to about 50-60, so when they come out the tyre blankets they have the right temperature, but the dry tyres, they're not quite there just yet. So it does make sense what they've done, whereby, as I said, the wet tyres are already warmed up and the dries aren't, but certain things need tweaking, like for example Bahrain, when the track's 50 degrees Celsius or something ridiculous, you wouldn't need to do any swerving and warm your tyres, it'd be warm by the time you got around there. As we saw for Spanish qualifying today, Spanish Grand Prix qualifying, they weren't pushing on the outlap at all, they were cruising around like they were qualifying tyres. For all you guys who've been watching F1 for a little while, you remember qualifying tyres. They're basically super soft tyres that were only good for one lap, and then you threw them away after that one lap. So on the outlap, you really had to treat them gently, so gently. But anyway, we're on the lap now, so I pretty much nailed the first corner. Couldn't have done it much better. This is an important corner. Oh, I missed it. No, completely missed my apex. Didn't even see the apex. I'm still hard on throttle there, still going to push. Use some of my cars. Not as much as normal, that must be said, because I need about half my cars to get to the line. If this lap isn't good and I've got a feeling it's not going to be, so just in case I conserve my cars. I might use some more on this next straight though. We'll see. Oh, once again missed my apex, so this lap isn't going to be a good one. Still pushing hard though. So yeah, I was right, using none of my cars. A second in that first sector, wow. That's a lot of time in one sector, in a 40-second sector. To lose a whole second, that's a lot of time. But anyway, I'm still pushing, as you can see, testing their limits. Michael Schumacher's reasonably famous for doing this, testing the limits. Well, he's not actually on a lap, he did it. I believe it was Korea. Oh, as Webber gets right in my way there. Jesus, that was close. That was very close. That's a good job I wasn't on a lap, wasn't it? It's always seems to be the Red Bulls that block me, doesn't it? I might run out of fuel or something, but yeah, it always seems to be the Red Bulls that block me. It's quite strange in qualifying. That's about the 3rd or 4th time that's happened to me this season. I said luckily I wasn't on a lap and I could avoid him safely. That was very close, wasn't it? As now we start another lap then. So 40 seconds left. As I said, I'll get to complete this lap, so no worries about that. As I used the cars I had available then to come into the first corner. Can I nail it like I did last lap? Oh, I've missed my apex. No, that's not gone well. That's not great. Probably already lost a couple of tenths. 2 or 3 tenths, I should imagine. Still going to keep pushing though. Might as well, as I said. I'm not going to be using these tyres. Just in case the track decides to dry up last second. But to be honest, if anything, I think it might have got more wet and got slippier. Because no one seems to be improving. No one's beating me at the moment. I'm still on pole. And yeah, I'm just struggling more, aren't I? Find out the time, as I said. Probably lost, say, 4 tenths then. Worst case scenario in that first corner. Other than that, it's been a pretty good lap. Pretty good sector. How much have I lost? And yeah, I lost 7 tenths. So pretty much tells me this track has got wetter. It's got slippier. So there's no chance of any improvements really. I'm still going to push, as I said, just in case. But I'd be very surprised if I can recover 7 tenths in one sector over the next couple of sectors. We'll see. Coming towards the end of the second sector now then. Very tricky circuit, this one. I enjoy it though. I like the technical circuits. They're actually hard to drive around. Still 7/10 though, so I've maintained it middle sector. So perhaps there is some speed. But, ooh, run a bit wide there. But yeah, I do enjoy the circuit. Oh no. No, lock the rears. Go into the corner and slip me wide. And I will now actually return to garage. I know I said I wouldn't, but they have all crossed the line and finished their laps, so no harm done. So that gives me, I believe, yep, there we go, confirmation, pole position for me in the Force India. Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari second, 6/10 down, and there we go, that 4th place was a second down on me, so quite a big margin I had there, very close after that though, so I need to smash that first lap in. As we saw, I think the track must have got slippier, so definitely need to smash the lap in, and I managed it. That's pole, not for the first time this season, it must be said, in the Force India. I think at least in 2012 they're a little way off that. This year they look like they might be able to do it, perhaps, with something like wet conditions. But there we go. So now onto the race then. Perfectly dry, as I predicted. And I didn't actually look at the monitor, but I suspect it would have said 0% for today. Let's have a look when we sit down. There we go, yes, 0% chance of rain. So we now have a look at my teammate once again. Absolute thrashing. He's only out-qualified me 4 times. That's probably when I was in a Caterham. So going for cautious fuel strategy then. I think that was lap 6, was it? I was pitting. Somewhere around there, but no worries for tyre conservation in a 25% race. So we have another flick through the setup. Just in case you missed it the first time. So I've gone for 2.2, 10.10 and suspension. A little bit out of the norm, but that was just so I could take the curbs nicely. Because some of these curbs are a bit nasty. So particularly things like the first corner, I can ride a bit of curb and not be worried about it. There's a few random bumps as well. Just helps me out a little bit. So that's what I've gone for. As we now got a, I believe, probably a brand new set of option tyres. And we go onto the grid then. So there we go. That's how it looks. Of course, everyone's gone for options. Standard really in the game. At least on career mode. A bit of a shame really that no one really does any different strategies. They do, but generally at the front, they don't. But there we go. So anyway, the lights are on now, and we're going to be starting. So 5 lights, and the ramp we're away then. So straight to it, mixture as always. Minimise wheel spin, doing actually a pretty good job of it there. Got virtually no wheel spin, using a bit of curves, and I'm miles ahead already. So need to nail the brake into the first corner, which I've managed. Look at that. Ooh, we did run a bit wide though. Nailed the apex, but took a bit too much speed into it and ran wide. And I'm still in first position. So good start. That's what I needed to do. Now I need to push, try and get out of gap. As we saw, I believe it was in the last race in Korea. I'm not expecting to have the pace in the race, no pun intended. So I've got 5 laps spare of fuel there, so plenty of fuel left, rich mixture already. Going to go on that for the first couple of laps, as I said, to try and pull out a gap if I can. So now the apex nicely there. It's going pretty well so far, as Alonso's already not that far back. 1.2 only. Usually I have quite a sluggish start, but I think I must have had a half decent start. So I just about managed to get 2 wheels inside the white line there. So, oh no, get a bit of grass on my tyres, that's not good for this chicane. Of course, nature of a chicane, it's one corner one way and the other corner is the opposite way. So if you get grass on your inside tyre on the first corner, inevitably the second corner is going to be your tyre, it's going to have grass on the outside wheel. It's only 9/10 now then, so he's gained time in the middle sector. This is what I feared. I think they might have to pace on me again. Less than a second, I need to push, try and get away from his DRS zone. So we can't get DRS on me. It's that 1 of 15 then, so 15 laps to go. Coming to the final corner now then. There's the activation line for DRS zone number 1. And I'll show you the detection line if I can remember where it is when we get around there, but still just under a second look. So as we know, we don't get DRS till lap 3. So coming up is the DRS detection line just there for this long straight. There's 2 DRS zones for this track. And the activation line is a little way down here. It's just about here, look, there it is. So, it's a very long DRS zone. It's very powerful indeed. But because it's a little bit late in this straight, it's not hugely powerful. But it is pretty powerful, so still managed to maintain the gap at the moment though. He's trying to carry it on. It's of course too purple. Since the last that was a standing start. 1.4 seconds, so I've gained some in the middle sector. As oh no, I have a terrible chicane, look at that, completely off the track. Try not to keep doing that. As I said, I don't want to be breaking the rules, despite the fact the game lets shoot. don't want to be doing that on a consistent basis. Just doesn't feel right, doesn't sit right with me. Must be said, I did used to cut a little bit and extend before I joined the league, but not massively. I would never do it that much. As the gap's now a second then, so that's not good. He's pulled back those, was it 4/10 in the middle sector alone, so he's probably just about inside a second again, but again, no DRS. But he's going to get it very soon indeed. He's not going to get this straight. He will get it next straight though, if he's close enough. Oh, look at that. A few hundredths inside, so really need to push now for this first corner. It's all about this corner. So I didn't hit the curb nicely. On the throttle nice and early, run a bit wide there. I don't use any curves in between the corners. Braking quite late. There's the line. This is going to be close. I wonder if he got it. I think actually, looking at the pack, look, usually if you're holding them up, all the pack will be bunched up behind you. Most of the pack at least. But look, there's little gaps appearing, so me and Alonso pulled out from the rest, so I think actually I might have the pace on this track. What I haven't mentioned yet is I can win the championship at this track. There's 4 races to go, including this one, and I'm about 87 points ahead. So after this race, there'll only be 75 points remaining, so all I need to do is, well, just not get massively outscored actually by Alonso and Hamilton, and I will take the championship. So obviously if I win, that will guarantee it, and this will be me in the championship position. I was aware of this, despite not mentioning it until now, but when I was driving, at least I was aware of this. I knew that all I had to do was beat Alonso, and to be honest, all I needed was a podium. So if I was third, and Alonso was first, say Hamilton was second, I would still win. This is still just under a second, look. You might get it here. I think that was the, I haven't shown you yet, I think that was the detection line just about there. As it's going to be very close. Does he get it? He's straight, he's a bit too far back to overtake me anyway, but of course if he does get it, he'll be close enough to get on this next straight. I don't think he has, I didn't see his rear wing open then. 1.1 it was as we crossed the line. So once again pushing very hard, they're running out of circuit a little bit. I think I might have just about kept outside of second, but it's very close. Let's have a look. Of course we won't know until we get to the activation line, and I look behind. Again, I think he's too far back to do anything about it, but as I said, it will make him a lot closer. I mean, you might better do something about it next lap. I didn't actually look behind then, but he's not all that much closer than me, so I don't think he got it. No, don't think he did. I think he's probably just over a second again. So I seem to be faster in the first sector by about half a second. There we go. He seems to be faster in the middle sector by about half a second. That's quite possibly because I was on Rich. If he's got, say, optimal fuel, he would be faster in this middle sector. So here we go then. Going on this beautiful corner. Coming towards the end of the second sector then. Can I get it over a second? Yes, it is by the looks of it. Looks like I've managed to maintain that gap. Yes, 1.3 seconds. That's the new record for this race in the middle sector. As I said, I'm on for the championship. That'll mean I will have won the championship 3 races early, with half the season in the Caterham, half the season in a Force India. So it's a pretty big achievement to manage that. It's partly because the car's, my rival behind me has always been battling with someone. Alonso has just been overtaken by Hamilton in the championship last race, so that didn't do him any favours. Oh, there's a lot more. They ran a bit wide. No, that could give him DRS, but I was 1.4. I think I was just about had enough time. I can save it. So I do fastest lap of the race there. It shows I do have pace. Alonso didn't beat that. So I'm going to Rich again. I think I just about kept outside, but luckily I had 1.4 seconds. If I was down at a second or so as we crossed the line there, you would have got that. So you need to be a little bit careful. You need to remain consistent but fast. It's not easier to do. Definitely easier said than done. So we're on lap 5, already a third of the way through this race. 25% so short, isn't it? It really flies by. That's good. That means hopefully we have action-packed races. Because I lose 3 tenths in my previous lap. That shows you how much I lost in the first corner. This is still 1.4 seconds. So at the moment, I've just about got the measure of Fernando Alonso behind me, but I'll tell you what, it's close, isn't it? It's not often that I've actually got the pace in the race, particularly at the beginning of the season with the Caterham. I was holding them all up, wasn't I? I was getting a little way up in qualifying, maybe 14th, and then overtaking about 8 cars. It went ridiculous in the first lap, and then just holding them all up for the rest of the race. Australia particularly springs to mind, whereby I held Mark Webber up for most of the race. Despite having DRS, he just couldn't get past me. Oh, actually no, I think Mark Webber got past me, didn't he, on the second or third lap? And everyone else held up, something like that anyway. As I'm due to pit this lap, lap 6. It's 1.4 seconds there. So that's a better first corner. Ooh, still ran wide though, still taking too much speed in there. As I said, I'm just desperate to get on throttle to get to this line more than a second before Fernando Alonso gets there. And again, safety DRS, but do I pit this lap? As I said, I did this race about a week or two ago. I can't actually remember whether I do or not, so it'll be just as much mystery. It's just as entertaining to me as it is to you. So heavy on the brakes now at the end of the long straight, nailing the apex nicely. Again, that's a corner that feels nice when you nail it. Such a wide track, it's quite strange. You get a little bit lost almost in terms of the racing line in that corner, on the entry to that corner at least. So I'm now over 2 seconds ahead of Alonso, so I'm staying on rich in this middle sector. Got plus 3 laps of fuel. That probably means I'm going to pit at the end of this lap. I'm just trying to pull out a maximum gap. As I said, I like to have probably about 3 or 4 second gap to the car behind when I come into the pits, otherwise I might get held up by them. Just in case Alonso happens to pit same lap as me. It's going to be 2.1, so still just over 2 seconds, but it could get held up by him. It's going to be close. So I choose the prime tyres there. Forces me to miss the apex. My attention, of course, went to the menu on the left-hand side, and I do indeed pit this lap. Has fallen to the entry a little bit, but I still kept 2 wheels inside, which I believe is technically illegal in real Formula 1, but it's such a tricky pit entry, it's almost impossible to do in a game. So 3.7 then actually as we cross the line there, interestingly. So I think he did pit, and yes, I'm back out. So I think he must have been a lot slower in the pit entry than I was. Look at that, nice big gap. And someone's just come through. Who's that? Massa, that's okay, he'll have to pit again. So now on prime tyres, so I'm expecting these to probably be slower. Or to get a bit loose with now on the exit. And nice big gap to Fernando Alonso now. That's good to see. Yes, look at that. Absolutely huge gap. So my fear, I didn't actually mention yet, but my fear of being slow on the primes was, well, I'm going to say unfounded. I might still be slow on the primes, but it's not going to matter that much. And actually Rosberg's managed to get ahead of him, look. Rosberg's ahead of him, and I don't think Rosberg's pitted yet. That's how he's done that. Well, he might have done, but regardless, I should think he's probably not as quick as Alonso. Yeah, I shouldn't imagine he's pitted yet, so that's good. Rosberg will be holding Alonso up nicely. There's 4 seconds between us already. 4 seconds, that's a bit better than the 2 seconds when we pitted, wasn't it? It's doubled. As I said, from slower now, all I need to do is maintain the gap. We're already halfway through this race. If I just maintain the gap, that's all I'm going to need to do. What's it going to be now then? This will be to Rosberg, this gap we get. When Rosberg gets to that line. 3.4, so I was actually quite slow there. Looks like Alonso's dropped back from Rosberg. Of course, we've got cold tyres. Rosberg will have nice roasty toasty tyres. That's Massa pits in front of me there, so that will give me back the lead of the race. So it's just all about maintaining the gap now. Keeping a certain distance to Alonso. So I crossed the line there. Relatively slow lap, but of course I did pit. Cut the corner slightly there, didn't mean to, but there we go. So apparently 8 seconds to Alonso. Not sure I believe that. We'll get a proper sector time in a minute. Sounds an awful lot of time. Although, it is a big gap. Look at that. I can't even see him. Might well be 8 seconds. That'll be some achievement if it is. If I could win this race, what a way to win the Drivers' World Championship in my first career on this game. With a win at India, a circuit I do enjoy racing around. In a Force India, no less. Let's find out the gap then. 4.7, so yes, I was right in being suspicious of 8 seconds, but even so, my engineer tells me that's 5 seconds. Probably because it's gone up slightly in the last couple of corners, so that's good. I've got 8 laps remaining now, including this one, I believe, to maintain the gap. So what's that? About 7 or 8 tenths per lap or so. As long as I'm less than 7 or 8 tenths per lap slower than him, I'll be okay. I'm still pushing hard to try and increase the gap if anything. That's at 16.2 up, of course, on previous lap, but the previous lap I pitted on. That's to be expected. So still 3 laps spare fuel. I'm still only on standard as well, so I'm saving the fuel. I'll probably switch now. Do I? Yes, I do. I do know myself well, don't I? So 31.6, that's quite a slow lap. So we skip ahead now to lap 13, what it is now, as I do a fastest lap of the race on that last lap, 3 tenths of my previous. 30.0. So these primes obviously have got the pace, but that was a rich lap. And I'm going to do another rich lap here. Gap's up to 9 seconds now to me and Alonso. So 9-second gap, and there's 3 laps left to go, including this one. So he would need to be 3 seconds a lap faster than me. So either I need to make a horrible mistake, or I've won this race. And indeed, the championship is starting to get exciting now then. So I've gone to optimal fuel, but that's okay. I'm going to keep it on rich because I do want to improve that lap if I can. Wouldn't it be amazing if I was to do the triple, pole, fastest lap, and the race win? That is the quadruple, isn't it? And it's the Drivers' World Championship as well. That would be some feat. Win it in style, or not at all. Half a tenth up then. Purple, fastest of anyone, 9.5 seconds now to Alonso. Could probably still decrease that gap in the middle sector, I should imagine. We're about to find out. I think that's probably because of the downforce in this corner. Force India just hasn't got as much grip as the Ferrari. As we expected, 2 tenths up then, so I'm on for a 28.8, 29.8 rather. That's failing me once again there. Around 29.8. So it's a good time. Ooh, was on right wide there though. That wasn't great, got some grass on my tyres, but that's okay. It'll be the inside tyre for the next corner. As I missed the gap there, it was too quick. Probably means it was bang on 10 seconds hopefully. As I lose a tenth in the final sector, but that's okay. We saw a rider around 29.9. Fastest lap of the race, so we skip to the final lap now then. So we've got a bit of traffic in front of me there. Hopefully I hit that and spin or something ridiculous. So last lap, I've got a more or less 10-second gap. I'm about to find out what it really is. 9.9 seconds, so as good as 10-second gap. As Cuff Cone brakes very early there, takes me by surprise. I tended to undercut him a little bit and fly onto the straight, but he braked very early. Not sure if he's let me pass or what, but there we go. I should have DRS. I do indeed. So now I'm rich. Might as well use all the fuel I've got left. I've been having wasted fuel in the tank at the end of the race. Stellaros is now in front of me. Should now get the blue flags. He does indeed, and lets me past. There's a bit more traffic ahead, but I shouldn't imagine I'll catch them before the end of the lap. Quite a few seconds ahead. 5 seconds or so. Maybe not quite that much. 3-4 seconds. I should be okay. So 10 seconds then. It is just over 10 seconds to Fernando Alonso. Just over. Would be amazing as well. If I could do the, I don't know what the word is, pentiple maybe? I don't know. After quadruple. By leading the race by over 10 seconds in just 25% race distance in a Force India, no less. As we round now the final few corners, effectively of my championship. As 9.9 is back again, so I'm probably not going to quite manage 10 seconds. That's the game when we go to Rich for the last few corners. A little bit annoying, but I'm not worried about that. As I do indeed do the triple. No, I do the, well, quadruple. Not going to say the pentiple. I do the quadruple. Pole, fastest lap, race win, and the World Championship with 3 late races left to go. So I finished first there, ahead of Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari by 9.2 seconds more or less. As I get an achievement there which doesn't quite record properly, but that was the Drivers' World Championship achievement. And we will see in just a second when I press the continue button. There we go. Confirmation, 94 points ahead of Fernando Alonso with only 75 points remaining on the table. As also, my engineer tells me, beat Mansell's record for wins in a season, despite being a Caterham and a Force India. On Legendary all season long, no assists, not bad at all if I do say so myself. And that is the reason why I'm going to Caterham next year. I don't want to be winning the championship that easily with a very slow car, so I'm going to go back to Caterham all year next year and see how I get on. So here we go then. This is actually a different celebration to what you normally get when you win a race. This is a world champion celebration. He really goes for it. Look at him. Look at me, rather. Yeah, but congratulations for Alonso there. It's extended version. Taking it all in. I am the Drivers' World Champion in my rookie season with Force India now. And Caterham in the beginning of the season. Better give them a bit of a shout out. So there we go then. As I said, I'm going to continue this format for at least the rest of this career season. So the next race will be qualifying and the race all in one video. Hopefully be next week, but we'll see. That's not 100%, but it might be next week, might be the week after perhaps. Not sure. As I said, I've got a lot of content to fit in. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.